What's up, and welcome back to a kind of strange episode of Bristle Hook Fishing. I recently discovered like a bunch of footage of like random old dives that didn't load onto my SD card. So today we're just gonna like review through a lot of the footage, which is like beginner footage from a long time ago when I started diving, and kind of like review what it did right, what it did wrong, and how we improved from, that kind of diving. So hope you enjoy.
Welcome underwater, everybody. Today's video is going to be a little different because I'm just kind of narrating over some old footage, showing you all the level of like improvement that our spearfishing has gotten to. So as you can see, we're kind of on a bridge, checking out these pilings, perusing for some sheep's head. Clarity's not great. And you'll notice that we're just swimming along the pilings, right? Like not really shooting at fish that are very shootable. Kind of just like swimming around, very amateur hour. And we swim up and down these pilings, and we never really went all the way down to the bottom, but we would kind of hover and wait for fish to come in. And that's obviously not what you want to do. You want to get to the bottom. But here, I saw a nice snapper on my way down. I shot it, got up to the surface, and started bringing it in. Normally, I would be on the bottom, and I would shoot up at that fish, or I would shoot it on the way up. But this time I had to sort of shoot down at it, shoot at its back, and I put a bad shot in the meat, so I had to play it really kind of soft when I was getting it in, and it got wrapped everywhere. You can see my fins are kind of janky, but I eventually get it and put it in the box. So here you will see me load my gun out of the water. I would not recommend doing that. Anyway, after the sort of, fiascos with swimming around, drifting aimlessly, it's a nice Goliath right there, holy. But after we would swim around aimlessly, we would find some spots that held fish. But because we didn't know to go all the way to the bottom, we kind of just hover above these spots and then go down and sort of just sit mid-water column, right where all the fish kind of were, and spook them more down, and then kind of follow them, kind of drifting slowly down, which was, unproductive, to say the least. But you can see all of these angelfish, and in between them, they're the snapper and the sheep's head. There's another nice Goliath to the left. And here I'm going to take a really weird shot, straight up and down, low percentage shot. Surprised I even hit it. This is a worse shot to take than a unicorn shot, because there's just so little of the fish that you can actually hit. It's just its back. But I get it, and I kind of just pull it up. And normally if I'm around a Goliath, I've got a lot more urgency, but I had no idea what I was doing. I kind of just pull it in, got another sheep's head somehow. I really like this recording because it's my first ever grouper, so it's dear to my heart, but I also do a lot of things wrong. For example, not checking any of these holes, right? Like the first hole that I check at this spot, there's a grouper in it. It's right there. I'm kind of just erratically swimming above the bottom, and then I look down and it's like, oh, there's the grouper. So I line up, I take a shot, and then I go to the surface instead of trying to secure the fish. Grouper! And I call it. And he's already wrapped himself up because I didn't try to secure him immediately. And there's like not much I can do, so this ends up being kind of a mess. So basically what happens is after Matt gets over, he gets a second shot in it, and we see it's stoned, and we're trying to pull it out. It doesn't come out. But we know we've secured it. So we go down, and I cut my line so that we can kind of pull it out from the other side. I just thread the shooting line back to the rock, and grouper secured. Hype day. So this is back at that bridge, but I think I'm a little more advanced here, but this is kind of a fluke of a shot. It's in the winter, and I kind of see a sheep's head swimming around, and so I don't rush towards it. I just kind of swim along, and once I see it, I just pocket from the surface. Again, low percentage shot. I would not recommend taking this shot. And now I think I would duck dive before going for that shot, because even if you hit it, you mess up the fillet and the meat. This one's that same day. I'm just being much smarter. I go to the bottom from the outside of the pilings, hover kind of right above it, and nothing even notices me. So I have a lot of time to just sit there and look, see what I want to shoot. And I end up looking back, and there's a really nice sheep's head sitting there on the bottom. I plug it. Most of the time, wouldn't even have seen it from the middle of the water column where I was shooting, 6 months before I took this sheep's head from the ones before. So, lots of improvement. Really good sheep's head here, too. Another thing you can tell about this is we're not like aimlessly swimming around. We're, picking individual like gaps between the pilings, going down on each one sort of methodically, and some of them held fish, some of them didn't. This one ended up holding a ton of fish, which was super cool. I didn't go all the way to the bottom on this dive, which is dumb because this shot would have been way easier from the bottom. But I take a shot and I somehow make it. It was a ridiculous, like, long sniper shot that I did not have to take. Could have just taken it from the bottom and it would have been much shorter, higher percentage. And you can see this is high, risk of tearing out, but I get him. This was a different day, a bit further along. I've got a bit of a stronger breath hold, a better idea of where to hide. I'm hiding much closely more behind structure. I'm identifying these ledges and drop-offs where the fish should hold and staying near them. And I kind of see the fish that I want immediately. And I'm just kind of slowly creeping in, waiting for him to give me a broadside. Before I wasn't doing that, I was just shooting as soon as I saw him. This time I waited for that snapper to come broadside, got a good percentage shot on him, and headed to the surface. This allowed me to be pretty relaxed, knowing I had a good holding shot. And just kind of pull him up after getting up to the surface to breathe. This next one, I'm doing much better in terms of breath holds. I get down, this is actually like 30, 35 feet, and I get down to the bottom, and I actually stay there. I'm staying on the bottom, I'm focusing, I'm crawling along, I see a sheep's head, and here you see how I'm shooting up at it, so I have the option to shoot it broadside, instead of earlier where I was shooting down, and I had to take a low percentage shot. Because I was on the bottom, I was able to take that shot going up and have a much more high percentage broadside shot on the fish that didn't puncture the fillet, which is good. This dive is rather similar, heading straight to the bottom, big piece of structure here, and just kind of swimming along it, swimming down it, until I see a sheep's head come right across my field of vision. And because I'm on the bottom, I'm able to just put my gun on him, shoot him, and head to the surface. Much better execution-wise dives than the ones from before, where I was kind of just swimming around, not holding to bottom, taking low percentage shots. So these are much better example dives for beginner divers. This last dive is a great execution dive. It's the first dive on a new spot. Head straight to the bottom, no stopping. Find a good piece of structure to hide behind. And just kind of start crawling along it. There's a lot of bait here, right? And I look down, and I see a bunch of sheep's head, and I just pick the one I want, and just plug him. And then straight to the surface with my sheep's head. This is a pretty clear day for the bay, which was nice. I end up getting a really big sheep's head out of it.
Grab the fucking gun.
Matt's really lazy for some reason. Lazy Matt. But it is a nice sheep's head. Good one to end the video on. Alright, with that, thank you for watching.